Hello, TikTokers. Once again, House Shrink. I just show up in mysterious times to talk about some topics that have meaning. So I'm going to be waiting as people start coming in before I give you the name of what the topic that I'm going to be covering, so that people will know what I'm going to be talking about. And usually we have several thousand people that join us. So I hope that today is one of those days. I noticed when you go live, they tell you how many followers are on, and there are about 500 that are on. So be aware that Deborah just joined. Okay, remember that what I ask you to do is to either share the video or follow if you haven't followed. It's really very important. We have moderation here. The moderator is going to be Samantha as usual, and I'll be talking more about the house rules as people come on. So I'm going to wait for a few to come in, and quite a few people come in, several thousand as I mentioned. But I want to make sure that we have enough people here for me to start talking about the topic and so forth. Let's see, somebody here wants to another host. Okay, no, we already have a host, so I can't approve that. So, House Shrink here. Going to be talking about a topic that you're going to love, that very few people talk about. As you know here, I'm a clinical psychologist, and I talk about things that are actually very helpful for people, relationships, self-esteem, and quite a few things. But today, the topic is going to be, and those who just joined, Dylan and everybody else that joined, make sure that you follow the host and share the video, because that's the way that I can go with a larger audience and be able to reach more people. So that's really what I ask. That's kind of look at it as a ticket to get in. So hello. Oh, a lot of the regular followers are here, so that's really good. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about. Here's the topic. First, we set up the environment. I'm burning some Tibetan rope incense. I have some candles, and I am creating a place of safety, comfort, so that you can feel at ease being here. But just remember that what we do here is two things. We want people to respect the audience. You're here because you want to learn something and you want to share. And we have two types of people that distract. One are the clowns, who try to be funny, try to be cute to disrupt the flow of things, and the emotional vampires. Those are the people who get nasty and wake up in the morning and all they want to do is just mess up your day. So what we do with the moderator, we give a warning, a clown warning, or a or a vampire warning. And so you have an opportunity. If you get to be a clown or a vampire, you have an opportunity to clean it up. If you don't clean it up and you do it again, then you're either blocked or you're muted. But the good thing is that we have what I call rehabilitating clowns and rehabilitating vampires. So if you're a clown or a vampire and you want to be serious, you're welcome, and you'll be a rehabilitated clown or a vampire. So those are the rules. Anything else, you can just keep religion out and keep politics out. If you have religion and muting is cancel culture, yes, I have no problems with canceling people who don't belong here. You can call it anything you want to, but muting is my choice, because I'm doing this as a service. And if people want to disrupt, then I cancel them. That's it. So if you want to call it cancel culture, wonderful. But that's what I'm doing. Why? Because you have to respect people. And you don't want to be politically correct to be afraid to cancel people because they're going to call you this or they're going to call you that. I want to respect the audience. The people that come here disrespectfully, by either being a clown or being a vampire, then I just mute them. That's it. Call it whatever you like. But that's what I'm doing. Okay, so today the topic is going to be who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. This is really very important. Who validated your excellence, who let you know that you were worthy, and who actually didn't give you permission to feel worthy. So who denied your worthiness and who validated your excellence. This is extremely important, because we don't realize that some people just by one thing they say can make it or break it for us. especially if they're people that have some meaning for us. Somebody might say to you, hi Monique, how are you? Somebody might say to you, you're just not good at math. That's a way of invalidating your excellence. And you buy that and you become not good at math, or you're not pretty enough, or you're not tall, or you're this, you're that. But there are people, those are people that invalidate your worthiness. But there are people, and I've had the fortune of having really good mentors who validated me. And there are people who say, you're really a very smart person, or you're really a kind person, or you have some abilities that I really admire. Just to hear that from somebody, okay, we have a potential clown here, so clown warning, number one, and if you want to be a rehabilitated clown, then you can come back on. So just be aware, this is why we have the monitoring here, so that people will respect the audience that we have here. We have intelligent people here, and we don't want disruptions. And if you're going to be disrupting, then you're out. So if you just joined, make sure that you follow the host and that you also share the video. We have thousands of people because you do that. The topic for today, as you come in, ask for it and I'll repeat it. The topic for today is who validated your excellence or who denied your worthiness. And that's very important. And I'm going to show you how to clean that up. Somebody here says, my mother always put me down. Well, that's a way of invalidating your worthiness. And we'll talk about that. And what it does, because we're so prone and predisposed to pay attention to people that supposedly love us or that have a position of power, like a teacher or a doctor or clergy, and they say something to you and you take it as if some kind of reality. And then what happens is that you stop confirming your worthiness and you stop confirming your excellence because someone told you that you're not good. So it's very important. So what I want you to do, each of you, if you just join, the topic is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. And what's going to happen here is that you're going to be able to look into it and say, okay, who gave me excellence? Who confirmed that I was an excellent person, that I am an excellent person? And then who denied my worthiness? Who put me down in a way that now I question myself? So it's very important to see that. So following the host, this is really good. Mies is following the host, and that's what we need. And also make sure that you're sharing the video so other people have a chance to see it. I'm a clinical psychologist, house shrink, and I'm giving you really good information, not therapy, just education for you to improve your wellness, improve your sense of excellence, relationships, and so forth. And then tomorrow, as you know, some of you have joined me, this will be in its entirety, this video will be on my other social media, which is YouTube, Dr. Mario Martinez, and I have hundreds of videos there from here, from TikTok, as well as from other places. So make sure that you are, let's see, who taught you how, directly or through observational learning? Well, that's a really good question. Somebody will either tell you that you're good or bad, or they'll show you how to be good or bad by observation. So the question is, for example, let's say that you had a father who was a failure. He tried and tried and tried, never made it, couldn't keep a job. Every time that he tried to do something, it would just not work for him. So what that person taught you, not by what they say, but by their actions, is that life has a sense of helplessness, hopelessness, that no matter what you do, it's just not going to work. So you learn that. So what they're doing is, indirectly, they're saying, here's an unworthiness that I'm teaching you. Even if they tell you, don't be like me, don't be like me, they're showing you to be like them by their actions. So it's very important that you see that. And those who just joined, make sure that you follow the host, share the video, and the topic is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So what we're going to do is, to validate your worthiness, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say each one of you here is worthy. And what you want to look for right now is, what is my worthiness? What is my worthiness? So what you do is you look for, okay, what is my worthiness? Is it that I'm an honest person, or is it that I am bright and brilliant. That's your excellence. That I'm compassionate. Just look for that, and look for that kind of thing, and then you're getting a validation here. Everybody validates you here. So yeah, your father very positive and told you to surround yourself with positive people. That's good. But you know what happens sometimes? That someone tells you good things and they tell you you're wonderful and you feel good. Then all of a sudden somebody comes in and brings something really negative out. And that sticks better, longer, and deeper than the good things. Why? Because your brain pays attention to the negativity. It pays attention to the danger because it assumes that this is something related to survival. So you're going to remember the negative more than the positive, not because you're not because you're bad or anything. It's just that that's how the brain works. Okay, no one is worthy anymore. What does that mean? I'm worthy, and everybody else here is worthy too. So what does that come from? You don't feel worthy? Let's see. He was very successful, and I became successful. My family loved me, but we're not positive. All right. So then what you learned is that you can be successful, and sometimes they put you down. And this is what's so important. The intimate language of love. The intimate language of love is this. If you're in a culture that says food is love, you got to clean your plate, you don't eat all your food, you don't love me. It tends to make you obese or create a weight disorder. If your tribe says work is love, then you become a workaholic and you're not available emotionally to other people. So you have to look at what language were you taught when you were little. What language were you taught? The language of excellence, the language of food, the language of money, the language of unworthiness. Sometimes people tell you, we're poor, we're always going to be poor because the poor get poorer and the rich get richer. It's not true. That's just a myth. So these are things that we want to deconstruct. Do women have a nesting instinct, or is it a stereotype? Women have a nesting instinct that they show very early. And I'll give you an example. This is not political correctness or social constructivism. This is a fact here. An experiment of some people that wanted to prove that there's no biology, that it's all cultural. And you know I'm very cultural, but there is biology. What they did is they gave children, very young children, they gave the little girl tanks, the toy tanks, and they gave the little boys dolls. They said, okay, so see, we're going to teach. Within a few weeks, the little boys were using the dolls to fight with swords, and the little girls were putting the tanks to bed. So there's some instincts there. There's some biology there. You can deny it or you can accept it, but it's there. I gave into drugs and bad men. Peer pressure was horrible for me as a young girl. It's gotten better. Okay, yeah. Peer pressure is very powerful because in order to fit in, you have to acquiesce to what they want you to do. So in a way, they invalidate your worthiness and they tell you, the only way that you can be here with me is if you do drugs or if you do sex or if you do this, you do that. Do you have any tips for an introvert for a job interview with imposter syndrome? Well, let's kind of demystify all that imposter syndrome and all that. What you do is you practice. Practice being assertive with what you're going to be doing in the job, but also ask yourself, who taught you to not be comfortable with people? That's the first thing you have to do. Who taught you? How do we deal with addictions? Well, it depends. Addictions are not an illness. It's a learned behavior. And it has to do with serotonin and dopamine and all that, but it's a learned behavior. And it's a learned behavior to distract you from something that you really, really are afraid of, or to distract you from your own excellence. And it needs to be treated, but it needs to be treated understanding that you're not sick. It's just a dysfunctional, excessive behavior. And that's a whole topic by itself. Okay, so again, just if we, the clowns, you have a clown warning here. Next time you're gone. So anyway, getting back into the topic. The topic for today is who validated your intelligence and who invalidated your worthiness, who denied you your worthiness. So it's very important. So, so then the idea is you have to look, because the point in doing all of this work, be prepared for the near future. If you do it again, you're gone. Okay, so just remember that's a vampire kind of thing. So if you do it again, you're gone. Why? Why am I doing this? Because these are people that are distracting and disrespecting you as an audience and disrespecting me. So what I do is I become politically incorrect and I say, out. You want to become a serious person? Then okay. If not, goodbye. So that's what we do. Do white people have a lack of empathy due to closed? That's bullshit. That is pseudoscience. Race has nothing to do with compassion. Has nothing to do with emotion. That's the kind of crap that you're being told by political correctness and social constructivism. Race has nothing to do with how you are. How you're taught is what matters. Whether you're white or black or whatever. So don't do that, because that's total junk science. Okay. How do I stop overthinking? Overthinking means that you are distracting yourself from the present. So when you start overthinking, you stop, you take 3 deep breaths, and you pay attention to what's going on around you and find something new. Find novelty. Find novelty around you, and immediately your brain will go back into the present. You got to practice it. And once you practice it, then it gets better and better. What do I think about the law of attraction and manifestation? That's junk science. It doesn't exist. You don't attract anything. You seek out what you're selectively looking for, but you don't attract anything. There's nothing. The only value of the law of attraction is the people that wrote it are multimillionaires now. That's the only thing. But it's pseudoscience, it's junk. It doesn't exist. And again, I'm being very clear here. I'm politically incorrect because I'm giving you science, not what people think that it's wonderful. So anyway, if you just join, okay, if you believe that manifestations do work, sit around and manifest a new car and see how long it's going to take you to get it. That's the way to check it out empirically. Okay, now, the topic, again, who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. So it's very important that you look at those things. So if you just joined, please follow the host and share the video. Just share the video so other people can see it. And tomorrow, if you missed it all and you want to go back and see everything that went on here, then you go to YouTube, my other social media, and there it's under Dr. Martinez, Dr. Mario Martinez. Under Dr. Mario Martinez, you go there, several hundred videos, including the ones that you're going to see in here. It'll be on tomorrow. How can I control a bad temper that was caused in a childhood? Well, bad temper is usually a fear. Prejudice is a fear. When you're prejudiced against something, you're fearful of that. And what happened is you learned to deal with certain things in your life, intolerance and fear, with anger. So one of the things you want to do is go back. When did this happen? How did I learn this? And then there's some techniques that, if you have books, The Mind Body Code, The Mind Body Self, they're both bestsellers, and you can get them on Amazon, that I explain that in detail. But basically the idea is that you have to learn how you learned what you're dealing with, and then deconstructing it with techniques and so forth. Am I a therapist? I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. Can I repeat something about denying excellence? Well, the topic is who confirmed your excellence? Who told you at some point in your life that you were good about something? But also who in your life also denied your worthiness by telling you that you're not a good person, by telling you that there's something wrong with you. Dialectical behavioral therapy is good. Yeah, one of the problems with it, or one of the limitations, it is very heady, very intellectual, and it needs to go into cultural and emotive kind of things, embodying and so forth. So if you want to use it as an adjunct, it's good, but you got to do other things too. All I do is help others. How can I help myself and focus on me? People that are caretakers are people that were denied in their childhood a time to be a child. They had to become responsible. They were told that other people are more important than you, either by action or not. Can rage room therapy help with anger? No, it just teaches you to be a better angry person. That doesn't work really well. There are other ways. So you were taught that other people come first. Is it EMDR effective? Yeah, it's effective, but it's an adjunct. You have to use other things to it, with it, not just by itself. So anyway, you were taught that there's something more important than you, and usually people who are caretakers don't have very good health eventually, because they're denying their own needs, they're denying their own body cues of what is needed, and then what happens is that you become last. You're last in the deal. My teacher, Mrs. Fisher, helped me in high school. Wonderful. Yeah, I've had some really good mentors. I had a mentor, one of my mentors, when I was a graduate student at Vanderbilt, and he was a very famous psychologist, John Bransford. He was quite a pioneer in cognitive psychology. And I was working on my thesis, and I went up to him and I said, John, you know, I have this concept here that I'm writing about, but this professor at Harvard doesn't agree. And he just looked at me and he said, people make mistakes at Harvard. Kept writing. That's all I needed to hear. I learned to then deal with anybody, no matter where they came from, because he validated me and he said, you need to go ahead and value yourself, even though somebody may not agree. Anyway, let's see, follow the host, good. Care Bear, just follow the host, wonderful. People that just joined, what I'd like you to do is to follow the host and share the video. We have thousands of people when you do that, every time I have one of these presentations. If you just joined, the topic is who validated your excellence and denied your worthiness. So it's very important to see that. Now I'm gonna drink a little water. If you're new, welcome. And the thing to do is just to follow the host. John's last name, Bransford, B-R-A-N-D-S-F-O-R-D, Bransford, John Bransford. He's an emeritus professor now at the University of Washington. He used to be at Vanderbilt when I was there. He was really, oh, hi from Ireland, great, I love Ireland. Been to Ireland many times, lecturing there, to Dublin and many other places. So welcome, Aaron Gobro. And he's very good, Bransford is very good at how we learn. So the teaching that he does is how we cognitively learn. It's really very good, so I suggest that you get his books. Hello from New York City. Hi, New York City. A lot of questions here in Michigan. Okay, newcomer, I like your talk from San Jose, California. Join, and the people that just joined, make sure that you follow the host, and that you, Arkansas, that you also share the video. And you can share it on your social media, by the way. There's a way to do that. You can share it with Facebook, you can share it with all the other social media. So please do that, because that'll give us a bigger audience and more people will take advantage of this information. So it's really good. Hi from the Philippines. I've been to the Philippines many times, to Manila. I've done some lectures there, and it's a beautiful country and beautiful people. So welcome. Make sure that you follow the host and that you share the video. Then tomorrow, remember that tomorrow you can go to my channel on YouTube, Dr. Mario Martinez, and you can see the whole video. It'll be up tomorrow, and it'll be how do you help correct rudeness, disrespectful behavior, and anger issues in children? By setting limits and giving them options. From New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand also. Very, very beautiful place. You give children options. If you do this, you have two choices. You can do this or you can do this, depending on the age, of course. The age is very important, but I can talk to you about more if you give me age. How can I stop being worried about my daughter's life? Well, start concerning yourself with your life and see what happens. And then your daughter will have a model of what life should be all about. Otherwise, what you're teaching her is to worry about somebody else. Where am I from? I'm from Miami in New York. My parents are Spanish, French, Cuban combination. So basically, I grew up in Miami in New York, and my father was from northern Spain, from Galicia, In the Galicia is like the Celtic part of Spain. Um, I would love to see PTSD change to PTSR. No, you're right. It's not a disorder. It's a natural response to adversity. Your body's responding to adversity, and they turn it into a disorder. They say, "Oh, wait, you just had a terrible car accident, and you just developed a disorder." No, you didn't develop a disorder. You developed a reaction to an adversity in life. So I agree, but it needs to be treated. And you need help. Just because it's not a disorder, it's a life reaction, and it needs help because your nervous system gets in a way, and so it's a. Yes, it's a natural response to a natural trauma, and usually people work it through on their own. In some cases, they don't, PTSD, and then they need help. But it's a compression of the brain when there's a trauma, and then the brain holds it up to let it out later, but you don't let it out later because it's anxiety producing. So the anxiety attacks and things like that keep it from actually being resolved. Okay, so if you just joined, this is How Shrink, Dr. Mario Martinez. And the topic for today is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. It's very important. That's right. Sometimes all somebody needs to do is to simply validate who you are. How do you treat PTSD? That is too complex here. I have books, and I can't do therapy here, so it has to do with you need to get some professional help for PTSD. I do consultations online, but there are many people out there that are well qualified as well. So, somebody share Hikari is sharing the video. Wonderful. So if you just joined, it's just a flow of people coming in. Make sure that you follow the host and that you also share the video. Cognitive behavioral therapy, that's good for it's good for a lot of things. I have fibromyalgia, major depression, anxiety. Wow, quite a few. Take one at a time. Ask yourself if you have any what I call archetypal wounds of shame, because I've treated hundreds of cases of fibromyalgia, and every single one of them has some kind of a shame component because that causes inflammation. I have a 3-year-old and find him so hard to raise him. Well, good luck. They're very hard to raise, but they get over it. The thing to do is don't micromanage, and don't let them get away with everything. You got to have a middle ground. So I'm full of shame and guilt. Okay, well, you have to learn how you have to go back and how you learned it, and there are techniques that in my book, the Mind Body Code. Get the book, and I teach how to deal with shame and guilt. I can't do it here because I'm not doing therapy, and it would take the whole hour. So it's very important. And panic attacks. Yeah, panic attacks sometimes come from post-traumatic stress, or come from something that was overwhelming in your life. And they, by the way, they have really, really good prognosis. Panic attacks and post-traumatic stress disorder have really good prognosis, so it can be treated with the proper treatment. So if you just joined, this is How Shrink, Dr. Mario Martinez, and I want you to follow the host, share the video, and the topic is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. It's very important. What is the cure for OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder? Well, there are many techniques about it. It's not really a disorder. It's an excessive use of behavior or thoughts. If it's thoughts, it's obsession. If it's compulsion, it's behavior. So obsessive compulsive means thoughts and behavior. And there are many techniques to deal with it. Read my books, The Mind Body Code and The Mind Body Self. So good afternoon. Hi. Good afternoon. If you just joined, How Shrink. And the topic for today is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. So it's very important that you do that. So you can go to my YouTube channel, like someone just mentioned here, Monique, and I have hundreds of videos there on my just blocked it out. My YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and make sure when you go there, also follow, because then you'll know when I have new videos. Follow the host. I have over 500,000 people that have visited already. So it's really a very popular. Can an OCD person appear psychotic? No. If you're a clinician, then you know that it's not psychosis. It's just that the obsession or the compulsion gets so difficult that it begins to affect your behavior. Oh, North Pole, Alaska. How are you? Welcome. At first, I thought they were just kidding around, but there is a North Pole, Alaska. So I just wanted to just share the video. Wacko Doodle, just share the video. Great. And make sure that all of you follow. Following is very important. As I get more followers, I'm able to do more things for you. So for example, because I have a certain amount of followers, now I can do live streams, but you couldn't without that. Now I can do live streams, I can do a 60-second or a 3-minute. So it expands my possibility of being able to do things. More questions, bring them up, and make sure that you share. What makes someone narcissistic and manipulative? That's a long answer, but it's learned, and some of it is there's a propensity that happens when your brain is developing. So it's a combination of things. But usually the narcissistic personality has no capacity or no choice. They don't make the choice of being compassionate. They're manipulative. They make you feel bad about yourself. They're never wrong. They have a real hard time apologizing, and they're always manipulating. So anyway, if you just joined, House Shrink, Dr. Mario Martinez, and what I want you to do is, as you're doing tingling, just follow the host, and Tracy, just live video. Anyway, make sure that you follow the host and that you share the video. My brother sexually abused me growing up, and I can't hold a secret any longer. You don't need to hold a secret. You can see a therapist, and then you can get some help from a therapist. It's very important. That needs to be treated, because otherwise, then it becomes sometimes even a post-traumatic stress disorder. Hello from Arkansas. Welcome. I'm sending you love. Thank you for being here. So what I ask you to do, your ticket here is just to follow the host and share the video. Some water, because I'm getting dry throat. And then tomorrow, if you missed some of this, you can go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and see the whole thing. So I want to tell someone, but I don't want to split the family up. It's up to you to split the family. You don't have that power. If they have a choice to split the family or not. But I think it needs to be done with a therapist, a professional that can help you through it. Because it's not a black or white thing. It's just you need some help. And if you do, then you and your therapist work it through. It's very important. But what happens is if you don't disclose it, then the predator continues to do it to other children. And you don't want that. Greetings from Wisconsin. Oh, hello, Wisconsin. Yeah, a lot of issues here. And what I want you to do is just I can't give you everything here, obviously, but I have books, The Mind-Body Code, The Mind-Body Self, and hundreds of videos that are free. The books are not free, obviously, but they are bestsellers, and you can get it at Amazon. The Mind-Body Code and The Mind-Body Self. Have you had any patients with psychogenic seizures? Yes, I have. Psychogenic seizures means that they don't know where it's coming from, that there's no clinical etiology, and it could be stress related. It's a combination of things, but I couldn't give you any advice here since I'm not treating you. I read The Mind-Body Self, great book. Thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that you liked it. Yeah, it's a really good book. I put a lot into it. Peace and love from New York City. Hello, welcome. Are you familiar with functional neurological disorder? They have all kinds of names. What is it that's going on? I'm a neuropsychologist, so functional. When they say functional, it means that they can't find the source. When they talk about, for example, essential hypertension, they can't find the source. If someone doesn't validate you, I've learned to give them permission. It's okay, whatever. Well, if somebody doesn't validate you, what you do is you begin to validate yourself. And as you begin to validate yourself, how does the DSM get updated? Is there a mass consensus? Yeah, professionals, And the thing about the DSM is every year they find new illnesses and new disorders. I don't look at the DSM anymore. When years ago it was that thick, and now it's huge, finding disorders and disorders and disorders. And I think that's it's over psychologizing things, because in some cases it's not. If you just joined, you just follow the host Nancy, follow the host. So anyone that comes in, the first thing to do is to follow the host and share the video. There are a lot of illnesses and problems here, and I can't treat them because I do consultations, and you can read the book, or you can get professional help, but I can't do therapy here. Obviously, it would be unethical, but I just can't do it. Well, it depends. It's very hard. Can you cure your seizures with therapy? It depends. It depends what your seizure is, and it depends if you have a good therapist and knows what they're doing. It's a combination of things. But there are many things that can help, because the brain has a lot of plasticity, which means that the brain can be very adaptable. And your therapist validates you, that's good. Therapy is a way of validating too. It's just letting you know, okay, look, you may have been told this and this, but I noticed this and this about you that's really very good. So let's work on it. But the problem with this, though, and this is very important for you to hear, is that when you feel invalidated, it's very hard for you to hear compliments. It's very hard when somebody said, you're really smart. Oh, no, I'm not, because you don't believe it. So there's a way to build self-esteem gradually, to at some point then you can believe it and you can accept it, that you are a good person, and you can accept that you're a good person. What can help with social anxiety? Well, read my books. I've done a lot of work with social anxiety. Get professional help. And in addition, watch my videos. Go to YouTube, over 200 videos, a lot of stuff there. Is such thing as PTSD from driving in Washington, D.C.? No. PTSD, it gets overdiagnosed. You might have an apprehension about driving that, but that's not PTSD. So what can be helpful with bipolar disorders? Well, you have to talk to your psychiatrist to see if you need medication, if you need mood stabilizers, but there's therapy that can help too. These are excesses of highs and low, and some of it is biochemical and some of it is behavioral. So you have to really work with your therapist on that. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than ours. Well, we really don't love ourselves more than other people. It's just that we value ourselves enough to be able to love other people. So it's very important to see that. I have heard a new treatment where the patient undergoes shaking to release trauma. That's kind of like pushing it, and that, well, you know where that comes from. You know, when animals get hit or they have some pain, they shake. All that does is it releases the tension, the physical tension that was built from the hit. So if you're hit and your foot and you shake it, then the tension is released, but that doesn't fix complex psychological problems. That's just the latest fad now. So you need more than that. Remember, quick fix doesn't work because you didn't screw yourself up quickly. It took a while. So be aware of that, and be aware of the pseudosciences out there. What's best on a narcissistic relationship? Very little. A narcissistic person is not going to allow you to feel good about yourself. It's not going to validate you. They'll always find something wrong. So they have really poor prognosis, but some of them can change, like anything else. Anger and rage you've been triggering it lately. Find out what it reminds you of. Go back. You always go back to where it was learned. What does it remind you of, and who taught you that anger? And then there are other ways to deal with it. So read my books, watch my videos, and get some therapy. How to help a narcissistic relationship? You need some therapy for that. No, we're not doing politics here, so don't do that here. Either way, no politics. Low self-esteem. I thank my professors for A's on my report cards. They're like, you earned it. Okay, yeah. There are a lot of people. So what I'm asking you is to go back to times when people validated you and you maybe didn't give it credit. Yes, polyvagal theory, that's good, but by itself, you need more than that. Um, would you recommend Adderall? I cannot recommend any medication if I don't know you, so I can't recommend. It would be unethical for me to do that. Typically, I took a cough. Now, instead of helping myself, listen to you. Well, so what do? You begin to set limits of self-caring. So what you do is you say, I'm going to make a commitment to watch this video, whatever you're doing, and somebody calls you, you let it go. The world doesn't come to an end. And then later, why didn't you answer? Oh, I was busy. Busy doing what? I was busy. Don't try to over-inform. Just set your limits and let people respect them. Okay. Yes, you have to be responsible for your own actions and your own feelings. That's called agency. Okay? Remember that we're leaving religion out and we're leaving politics out. So please remember that, so we don't want to mute you. Just make sure that you stay with the subject. This is not theology and this is not politics. This is biocognitive science from a clinical psychologist trying to help you with some ideas. So self-validation is important. Dylan, have a nice day. Thank you. You too. Thanks for coming. Make sure that you follow the host and that you share the video. And if you just joined, the topic for today is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. Look for that, and you're going to find a lot of interesting information about yourself. RA 1984, just follow the host, which is great. How do you stop someone trying to control your narrative in life? By setting limits and giving them permission to not like it. That's it. You set limits and you give people permission to not like them. If they're valuable, they'll stay with you. If they don't, they'll dump you. And why would you want to be with someone who doesn't allow you to be yourself? How can one change core beliefs that are harmful? By some techniques. Read my books, The Mind-Body Code, The Mind-Body Self, that actually recontextualize the belief systems that you develop. All of these things are learned, and they can be unlearned. But it's not a quick fix where you say, hey, do this or that. It doesn't work that way. It requires some specific methods of mind-body science, and you can overcome it with the proper tools. Is a disconnect between yourself and your brain an indication of a deeper issue? You're never disconnected from your brain. If you're disconnected from your brain, you become a robot. That's not that way. You're connected from your brain. You might be disconnected from your feelings and from your memories, but your brain is still working. You just have to access. Problems at work for being myself. Here's something that happens at work. When you have a job that is very toxic, there's several things that you can do. First, find out, how am I co-authoring the toxicity? What am I doing to give people ammunition to cause problems for me? Then also you ask yourself, is there anything that I can do about it? Can I make any changes? Can I change departments? Can I talk to my boss? If you find that there's no change, there's no possibility, then get the hell out, because it's going to make you sick. But don't do it in a way that's irresponsible. Give yourself some time. I had a job that I hated, and I said, okay, for the next 6 months, I'm going to be looking for a job that I want. Actually, I went into private practice then, and so be cogent and reasonable with yourself, but tell yourself, I'm getting out. We have damage to our brain. I don't know what you mean by that. It's just too general. So if you want to give us examples of responsive to emotional vampires. Okay. The emotional vampires are people who wake up in the morning and say, whose life am I going to screw up today? Who can I embitter? And how can I show my toxicity to other people? So what they do is that they come in here or anywhere and say, how can I either criticize or make negative comments so I can screw things up because I have a lot of anger? So what I do is I say, okay, look, one warning for the emotional vampires. Next time you get the garlic and the cross, so don't do it. And if they want to learn, then I call them, okay, rehabilitated vampires. Come out and become a better person. How can I am in a relationship with an aging father that was always very critical? By That's also a complicated one, but one of the things that you do is to ask yourself why you want to have a better relationship with your dad. Are you doing it out of fear? Are you doing it out of guilt? Or are you doing it because you want to be compassionate with yourself? And if you want to be compassionate with yourself, then you can be compassionate with others. MS, MS, multiple sclerosis is an autoimmune illness that has to do with inflammation and other things. And stress can make it worse. There are a lot of ways to deal with MS. And one of them is to learn some of the methods that, for example, in my book, The Mind-Body Code, to minimize the effects of EMS. So there's always you can do. How to make demands if not being validated? By setting limits with people. If someone invalidates you, let's say somebody says, "Oh, you're so dumb." Oh, really? Instead of defending yourself, tell me how I'm dumb. What am I doing? Oh, okay. All right, well, I'm going to accept that's how you feel about me. That doesn't mean that's who I am. That's it, and you drop it. Common techniques used by narcissists to put the blame on you, to find something wrong with you, to never validate your worthiness. If you do something very well, they'll say, "Yeah, that was good, but look," and you always feel a sense of rejection or a sense of not validating your excellence. So that's one of the ways to understand that. So it's very important that you set limits with people. Take a deep breath, you set limits, and then you give them permission to not like it. It's extremely important. Extremely important that you give people permission to not like it. Otherwise, if they don't like it, you go back and you acquiesce and you let them take advantage of you again or abuse you. I have a lot of anxiety after COVID and a very bad job situation. What can I do? The thing that I said earlier, look at how you're contributing to the problem, not to blame yourself, but how am I contributing? What work would I like to do? Do I love what I do or do I dislike what I do? And if you can't find ways of fixing it, then give yourself 6 months and look around for something else. But don't just quit. Look around for something else and find out what it is. Because if you don't, you might be taking the same thing to another job. You always have to ask yourself, what am I contributing here on the job? Have not felt good about myself, oldest of 10 critical siblings. Well, go to my videos. I have over 200 videos on YouTube on Dr. Mario Martinez, and start looking at some things. Look at, for example, a one that I have that's called the 3 Pillars of Self-Esteem. I have a 60-second one here that's been visited by over 26,000 people. It's really been very popular. But I have a long one also on YouTube on Dr. Mario Martinez. So stay tuned. Follow the host. Share the video. And make sure that if you want to watch this, you can go to my YouTube on Dr. Mario Martinez and you can watch it. Addiction is a learned behavior and not related to genetics. It's a combination. Here's what it is about addictions. I've done a lot of work with addictions, written professional articles. It's in my books. Addictions, you have a genetic propensity to abuse drugs. A propensity, not a genetic sentence. That propensity gets then connected with self-esteem issues or other kinds of things, and then the genetic expression is coming out. So it's a combination of genetic potential, like any illness. Diabetes type 2 in the family is only a propensity that can be expressed or not expressed. Someone said something about Parkinson's. Let me see. For a person with Parkinson's disease, and I have looking to, and always looking to start arguments. Well, people with Parkinson, it's a problem with the dopamine receptors of the brain, and they're very unhappy because they're losing control over their bodies, and there's a tendency to start getting angry. So what you do is when they start getting angry with you, you can say, "Look, I'd like to be able to talk to you now, but if you're angry, why don't you just go ahead and deal with your anger, and then we'll talk later." You walk away. And I know that can seem a little cruel, but it doesn't help them because it makes it worse when they express their anger, especially if it's something that's on a regular basis. How do you handle a family member who continues to push your boundaries? By setting the limits, as I said earlier, giving them permission to not like it, and then don't participate beyond. If they don't respect your boundaries, for example, they say, you say, please don't call me today, and they call you, you don't answer the phone. Why didn't you answer the phone? Because remember, I told you not to call me today? Oh, but I don't like that. I'm sorry you don't like that, but that's how it is. That's it. That's not being mean. That's being self-caring. You don't want to have people abuse you. Have you heard of the frozen past? The frozen past, yeah, that's a really interesting thing. That's Hoffmeyer, who's a semiotics. He looks at science and science and biology and so forth. He calls it the frozen past. And what he says is that we bring the frozen past into the present without thawing it. So you got the past there, and then you act from the past rather than from the present. And so you want to, when the past comes in, it's frozen. You got to heat it up a little bit so it kind of melts away, and then deal with the present rather than with the frozen past. Yeah, years of hypocritical parents, but definitely getting better. Good. Hypocritical parents, what they do, they also teach you procrastination indirectly, because then they're so critical of your judgment, then you put things off, not because you're lazy, but because you don't want to be judged, because there's always something wrong. Yeah, you got an A, but you could have gotten an A plus. You got a B, you could have gotten an A. It's never right. So then you start putting off decisions. And I have a good video on procrastination on my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez. Go take a look at it and you'll see. My husband just bought the Mind Body Self and your Mind Body Code. Monique, that's wonderful. Very good. This will be something that you could exchange with each other, the techniques that are in the book. So I'm very good. I'm glad that you got it. Enjoy it. They're both bestsellers. And the publishers told me, you got to dumb it down. People aren't going to understand it. This is too academic, too professional. I said, no, I'm going to respect my audience. And guess what? They're bestsellers. So the audience is pretty intelligent. And that's how you validate your audience. Thank you for the information. Have an amazing day. I'm going to YouTube now. Good. Yeah, just go ahead. It's Dr. Mario Martinez. And just all kinds of videos you can listen to and watch. So I've subscribed to your YouTube. I'm happy to have found you. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Michelle. Welcome. And make sure that you share the videos. And make sure that when you go to YouTube, that you also follow the, I would say follow the leaders. Follow the host on YouTube, because that also helps me in reaching to greater audiences. But also, you'll know when I'm on, and then you can come on and decide if you want to participate or not. So, we're YouTube again is Dr. Mario Martinez. Dr. Mario Martinez YouTube channel. You can go there. So it's very it's very important that you take advantage of it. It's free, and of course you can get the books, which are not free, but either way you can get a lot of information. So it's really good. Today it's been a good group of people, and it's let's see, some of these things I'm not really sure what the questions are, so I'll just go ahead. If you just joined, welcome. Follow the host, share the video, and then make sure that that you also go to YouTube if you want to see the whole video tomorrow. So anyway, how was your day today? Great day today. I went to on Saturdays I go to my favorite Kurdish restaurant, which is very similar to Persian, and I have some really good food there, and so I love to go there. And then I come over and then I do my YouTube here and share with very brilliant, wonderful people. So if you need validation, you're brilliant, you're wonderful. Why? Because you're here. If you weren't here, then I couldn't say it. But since you're here, you're looking for brilliance, you're looking for information from intellect. So that means that you have a good brain. And as I always say, this is an alternative to going to videos that people that are shaking their butts. What I'm shaking here is your brain. Shaking your brain, not your butt. What food did I order? All right, I ordered a salmon kebab with yellow rice or saffron rice, and musto Kiev, which is a type of yogurt with cucumbers, really, really good. And of course, I had Persian tea, which is wonderful. Um, so that's what I did. Salmon, yeah, I love salmon. That's what I had. So if you just join, House Shrink here, and make sure that you follow the host, you share the video, and the topic for today is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. Very important to see that. And then you can go to my videos and you can go to my books. Yeah, I wrote, that's right, Monique, I wrote part of the book there, actually. I write my books at restaurants, and then I bring them home, and then I do the research and everything. But I wrote most of my book there, and also another place that I go to on Sundays. So you have to have rituals. On Sundays, I go to brunch to a place called Margot's Cafe in Nashville. It is an award-winning chef, and there I write my books, and sometimes I do videos, short videos on for TikTok. So go to my page on my House Shrink, and you'll see some of the videos from Margot's. So, and you see some of the food from House of Kebab. So thank you. You remember everything. Yes, you do. So anyway, here you are, a brilliant audience to validate your excellence, to validate your intelligence, the respect that you're giving yourself to spending time here. No one validates you. Well, you're being validated now. How about that, Cindy? You're being validated now. You don't need anything else. You're validated. You're here. You made a commitment to be here. You're willing to listen to things that shake your brain rather than shake your butt. So that means that you are worthy. And there you go. You're validated. So it's no longer true that you're not validated. Very important. And the people that just joined, House Shrink, Dr. Mario Martinez, follow the host, share the video, and the topic is, the topic of today, as those of you just joining, is who validated your excellence and who denied your worthiness. So it's very important to that. So feels good. I need the help. Good. Go to my videos. There are over 200 on YouTube and Dr. Mario Martinez. And of course, if you want to get my books, The Mind Body Code, The Mind Body Self, on Amazon. Do you think there's any components within society that could be tweaked to help with mental health? I'm not sure if I understand that question, but I think that society is very important, because you have tribes that support your worthiness and tribes that are actually not worthy. But what we do here is we're creating a subculture of wellness, like Samantha just said. This is a subculture of wellness that supports your wellness, supports your excellence, that allows you to become the best you can be. So yeah, this is a subculture, and you're welcome. And all I ask you to do is just to follow the host, so you know when I'm on, and that you also share the video, because other people may benefit from it. So it's an act of kindness, and I don't get paid for this. This is just to be able to reach more people. Do you think social media complicates the subculture of wellness? Yes, it does, because social media has a lot of crap. They try to entice you with sexuality, they try to entice you with dogs fighting or what's wrong with the world, and you get shocked. But you don't get much out of it. All you get is your cortisol up and not much. So here, what we're doing is you're shaking your brain with good things that validate you, things that give you tools to have better relationships, to have better relationship with yourself, to set limits with other people. I struggle with being assertive with my partner because I fear being controlling. Well, let your partner let you know. Don't assume. Say, look, I'm going to set my limits, and if I'm going too far, let me know, and we'll negotiate. We'll negotiate here. But if you don't, what will happen is that you will withhold anger and resentment. You start getting passive aggressive, and it doesn't work really well. It's very important that you do that. If you have a good partner, your partner should hear your limits, and you should hear your partner's limits too. It's very important that you both negotiate with each other, so you can both feel worthy and that the limits are being respected. So that's what I would do. Does one need validation from others? Yeah, not constant, but at least you need one person. You see, we're social beings. We're not in a cave. And you need someone at some point in your life to say, I believe in you. It's very important to see that. Only one, that's all you need. And once you have that, you run with it, and it'll be there forever. But it's important that you have that, because the other one, when they invalidate you, that has a lot of power. because it's a negative thing, and the brain tries to remember the negative things, not because you're negative, but because it pays attention, because it's an alarm possibility of our survival issues. But then you can change that by, let's say that somebody validated you and said, you know, you're really pretty good, you're smart, and then one day somebody puts you down and start putting yourself down. Stop and say, wait a minute, this person put me down, and this is how this feels. Let me go back to the person that validated my worthiness, embody it, and see how it feels. The validation will overcome the other one because it's a stronger emotion. The psychoterminology of it is a lot stronger. The helping yourself and believing in yourself by someone giving you that is better than a vampire saying you're a terrible person. You can seek validation from yourself. Obviously, you need that. But it's good to have someone validate who you are, so you're not living just in an internal world. You don't need a lot of validation. You don't need everybody to be supporting you. How did I do? You don't need that. But just one person in your life that had meaning, who said, hey, you're worthy. I like what you're doing. You're a good person. You need that. And then once you have it, you don't need to seek it anymore because you already know and you live with that kind of experience. Anyway, any other questions? People are joining here. Quite a few people have several thousand people join. They're in groups, but then at the end they show the total, and it's quite a bit. So what I'm asking you to do is to follow the host, share the video, and make sure that you follow me when I'm on, if you want to, of course. And there's a lot of information that you get here. It's an alternative to some of the not very interesting and important things that are going on here. So TikTok has some junk, and like anything else, has some good things. So it's up to you. You can use it as a positive, or you can use it as entertainment, just to have some Doritos and sit at home and watch television, which is not going to be very healthy. So anyway, if you've just joined, what I'm asking you to do is to follow the host, share the video, and then tomorrow, if you want to, you can go to my YouTube channel and watch this in its entirety at Dr. Mario Martinez. Can be especially, okay, I'm feeling guilty after setting boundaries when I see how exact people I'm not sure that question there, but if you feel guilty about setting limits, is that your self-esteem is not where it needs to be. If you set reasonable limits for people, then you can feel good if you have good self-esteem. If you don't, you're going to say, oh boy, I'm just not going to be loved anymore because I just set my limits. People that are worthy will respect your limits. People who are not worthy will not respect your limits, and why would you want to continue any kind of connection with that person unless you have to? But it all has to do with self-esteem. So I strongly recommend that you go to my video. I have one here for 60 seconds called The 3 Pillars of Self-Esteem. And then I have another one that is longer on YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, on the 3 Pillars of Self-Esteem. Watch it because it's going to be really, very good. Yes, I'm always saying sorry. You don't have to say sorry. It's not being conceited. If something didn't work and say, I'm so sorry, just say, hey, look, how can I do this different? So feeling guilty about getting married and leaving my parents, they make me feel guilty. All parents will do that. They'll try to make you feel guilty, but it's only an invitation for you to feel guilty. It's not something that they hold a gun to your head and say, you better feel guilty. It's your choice. You give them permission to not like it, and eventually they'll get over it, and eventually they'll still love you. That's the way you do it. So stop saying you're sorry and start doing things. I'm sorry, no, or like, for example, you notice some of you who follow my work, I always complain about people saying, no problem, no problem. What the hell is no problem? If I say thank you, go into gratitude and say, you're welcome, my pleasure. But no problem is like walking on eggshells. No problem, no problem. What the hell is that? Get rid of that. Get it out of your language. Because your language is affecting your perception, and your perception is affecting your brain and your biology. So get rid of the no problem. Okay. My ex-husband denied my worthiness for 22 years. So now what you do is you celebrate that you're no longer with that person, and you celebrate, and now you have an opportunity to grow. That's what I would do. I'm trembling, hyperventilation after a stressful, worrying experience. It's an indication of very simple. When you're hyperventilating, you're just not breathing normally. You're breathing too fast, and what's happening is that your oxygen goes down, and you get too much oxygen actually, and there's not a good balance between oxygen and carbon dioxide. Sometimes if you're hyperventilating, what you do is you take a brown bag and you breathe into it so you can get more carbon dioxide in, and it'll settle you down. But also look around and see under what conditions do you hyperventilate. The first thing that you have to do when you get tense, check your breathing, because we have a tendency to stop our breathing when we're tense. So keep breathing slowly, profoundly, and rhythmically, and you'll see that you'll work through it much better. But you don't have to have an anxiety attack when you hyperventilate. No, I don't believe in control over emotion. No, look, here's the difference. You cannot control what you think. You cannot control what you feel, but you control how you react to what you think, and you can control how you react to what you feel. So forget about trying to control, and when they come, then learn to deal with them. And that'll take a tremendous pressure off of you. Learn to, whatever thought comes in, okay, I have a choice on how I deal with it. An emotion comes in, I have a choice on how I deal with it. And then you bring agency, which is a self-control of the reaction, not of the emotion or the thought. Yeah, it does, but the brown bag helps it, because the brown bag, what's doing, it's you're accumulating carbon dioxide, so you're getting more carbon dioxide, and it balances carbon dioxide and oxygen, and you stop hyperventilating. So let's see. I'm healing, have panic attack on heart meds, need to learn to breathe slowly. Yes, here's something that you can do. It's called heart breathing, by the way. It's really very good. And always consult your doctors, of course, but here's what you do. You sit quietly. It's called heart breathing, and there's been a lot of research in that area by the people from HeartMath. And you breathe with your eyes closed as if the oxygen or the air is coming in through your heart and coming out through your heart, in and out, instead of from here. And when you practice it, you'll see how the heart breathing works so well. And what happens is when you do heart breathing, your what's called your brain waves and the heart rate variability, which means in between beats, they cohere, and then it gets you into a very deep level of relaxation, and it connects mind and body, it connects thought and emotions very well. It's been done with biofeedback, and it shows that within 5 minutes you begin to cohere. So heart breathing is really very important. It'll help you, it'll reduce your blood pressure, and it helps a lot of things. But always consult with your doctors to make sure that you're doing the right thing. But heart breathing is really very good, and there's been a lot of research in the area by the people from HeartMath. If you just joined, this is How Shrink, Dr. Mario Martinez. 2 books, yeah. There's several books, but the 2 that are bestsellers are The Mind-Body Code and The Mind-Body Self. So you can get them at Amazon. That's the best price, and you can get them very quickly within a few days. At some bookstores, you may have to order them, but at Amazon they're cheaper, and you get them very quickly. And they're both bestsellers, so they've done really well. And so I suggest that you do it. Embrace emotions or keep them. No, you have to embrace what's going on and then navigate it. If you suppress something, it grows. Scientology, I don't want to talk about the religion, but the science of Scientology is not real science. Religion, I respect it, but the science within it, it's just not good science. It's already taking me. I have to stop. It works. What do you mean? Also, the Man from Autumn that Samantha mentioned is a psychological novel, but it's also on Amazon, and it's really a psychological novel that became the foundation for my other 2 books, which are not fiction. But in the Man from Autumn, it's a little bit like the Da Vinci Code, but with good science. And the characters teach you to live biocognitive science. They teach you about the relationships that I call guardians of the heart, stigmata. It's a very intriguing book, but with a tremendous amount of psychological information. So you might want to also get that book. healing from a controlled narcissist, unfortunately living back at home, well, it's very difficult. It's like if you're trying to quit cocaine and you're working in a cocaine lab. It's very difficult. But with help and with setting limits, it gets better. But you are going to have to set limits, and because those people can really make your life very, very miserable, and you don't deserve that. Can't financially afford. So anyway, when you can financially afford it, give yourself 6 months and get the hell out. That's how you do it. You plan. And when you plan, you feel better because you know you have a way out. It's not the end of the world kind of thing. Yeah, start breathing too fast with panic attacks. Too fast, and what happens is you're getting too much oxygen and not enough carbon dioxide, so it can lead to a panic attack. But if you do what I mentioned, you do the brown bag, and then you start breathing slowly from the heart, that will settle you within a few minutes. So it's very important you do that. My therapist taught me you can't change how you feel without changing what you think or do. Well, they come together. It's why it's called biocognition. You can't change what you feel. You can't change, or you can't control what you feel, and you can't control what you think. But you can react in a good way that helps you deal with the emotions and with the thoughts. Because if not, you're trying to. It's like people when they meditate, they try to get away from thoughts. Meditation is not getting away from thoughts. Meditation is observing what's going on and letting it happen, letting it pass. So that's what meditation is about. Okay, if you just joined, House Shrink, make sure that you follow the host, make sure that you share the video, and then tomorrow it'll be available on YouTube under Dr. Martinez, Dr. Mario Martinez. Meditation also helps. Yeah, meditation helps tremendously because it's a way of getting you out of your head, all the ruminations. It's a way of getting out of all the body tension. And what it does is it allows your body just to settle. It brings your blood pressure down. The skin resistance changes. You can't heal where you're being hurt. I'm not sure what the question is. If you clarify it, I'll try to answer it for you. Okay, but if you just join, what I'm asking you to do is to follow the host, share the video, and then tomorrow you can go to my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez, and also follow the host there. Do you think some people like to be miserable? Yeah, they're more comfortable being miserable because the miserable is known. At least you know you're going to be miserable. You know how it feels, and it's more anxiety producing to go into an unknown joy, an unknown abundance. So it's a fear of the new. And also, if you've been put down a lot, then obviously it's going to be very easy for you to put yourself down. But there are people that choose to be miserable, and you give them permission, but you don't join the dance. You can just give them permission to dance on their own. That's what I would say. Okay, Nada just joined. Make sure that you follow the host and that you share the video. And I think we're coming now to the end. I'm draining to give her advice and listen to her. Don't give advice to anybody because does it work? It doesn't work, right? The only way that you can change people, if they're going to change, is by you modeling the behavior that you want. You can't change people by telling them you are who you are, and then they have an opportunity to see and follow who you are or not. So misery likes company, that's true. So what you do is you look for new company. Is verbal abuse a form of narcissism? No. Narcissism is overdiagnosed. Verbal abuse is someone who is not sensitive to you. They don't have to be a narcissist. It could just be a mean person. By the way, there are mean, shitty people in the world. Not everybody has to be diagnosed with a psychological problem. They're just people just mean. That's who they are. If you can't afford professional help, is there anywhere else or anything? Well, I have over 200 videos. They don't replace therapy, but they help. And I have 2 books. At least I have 4 books, but 2 books that are bestseller that I recommend. The Mind Body Code, The Mind Body Self, which has a lot of information. Not to replace therapy, but to enhance it and at least help you. Not every narcissist is abusive. Not every abuser is a narcissist. That's true. So verbal abuse is narcissism is a clinical term. It's not just being verbal abusive, so don't mix them. Narcissism has a clinical terminology, and it has certain contributory factors. So just being abusive is not necessarily a narcissist. Being abusive could be, you could be an asshole, and that's not in the DSM-5. So just be aware of that. Okay, I'm going to be leaving pretty soon, so I just want to thank you all. And if you haven't followed me, do that. Follow the host. There are narcissists being perfectly helpful, happy at CEOs. Yeah, of course, because they tell people what to do and they're fine. But they're not very happy within, because remember, or maybe you don't know, narcissism is a self-esteem disorder. Although you think that they're all the greatest, it's a compensation for low self-esteem. That's what narcissism is. Okay, so thank you very much. Make sure that are there links between toxic masculinity and sociological issues? That's a long one. Toxic masculinity has nothing to do with masculinity. You could be a masculine toxic or a female toxic or whatever. Don't put it into the gender. A person who's toxic is toxic, and they just happen to have a gender. So that's the way that I would look at it. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day, and be sure that you joined if you haven't followed the host, and share the video. And then remember, tomorrow you'll be able to see this in its entirety in my YouTube channel, Dr. Mario Martinez. So until next time, have a wonderful day. And now you have been validated as being a special person, and this is our subculture of wellness that you can join anytime you want. So thank you very much, and be at peace. Thank you. Bye-bye.